Y'all know I've got a duplicate 3M mask, and what it is, it's KN95 mask. I think it's 511 CN is the actual number. I told you that I've got a bunch of the little things, and what they are basically, they're just like the N95 mask you see people wear. They're like the same material, but what they are, I've got a full face mask. I think I've shown you in my videos, and I intend to finally do a video about it. A lot of folks have done videos similar to that, but no one's actually shown that. I was looking at PAPR filters this morning, but no one's done on the N95, which is kind of an in-between. You've got those big cartridge filters you see on the side of them things, and for me, I don't really think that's necessary. Also, I don't know if it's gonna last. I think if I was gonna go somewhere, if I was gonna actually do a job that was more personal, like a nurse or working with people who I knew were sick, or I had to go somewhere like that, that'd be an event, and I could see myself putting on one of those cartridges. The N95, what those 511 CN things are. What those? I'm sorry. What those basically are, guys? It's a pre-filter for another kind of mask, and I don't have that type of mask, but that's what it is. It's a pre-filter, and I can see myself getting those eventually. But for me, I think those N95s will be enough. It's Chinese knockoff, which I knew very early on that I wouldn't be able to buy a regular G3M mask. The price would be prohibitive, as well as the fact that I'd rather buy a lot of stuff for it at a low price and know I can get it for a low price than actually get a real mask. And I'm going to still carry this. I'm going to still carry my Evo mask, but I spoke about it before that I'm concerned about being able to get regular filters for this. I'm surprised I was able to buy this because someone stole my other one. Yeah. I've still got like 9 filters in the closet, but still, man, we've got to think as though this may go on for a year. I'm long emergency thinking. Anyway, I want to do a video. I want to do a video showing you guys about how that thing works and all that, the other part of it and everything. What I do now, for the most part, is I avoid people. Like when I come to work here last night, I had to get my badge back, and instead of going through the factory, I walked around the factory, all the way around. My car's parked up there. What I think I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna stop signing in. I'll just pull around here. Like today, I didn't go inside and talk to anybody. I just went inside, got my mic, got my clipboard, and came back out to the truck. Everything was ready. I didn't go in and say to anybody. That's and it's not to be cheap. It's not a cheap out on my, but I think that's what will really be the saving grace, is being outside where there's wind blowing and stuff. Nothing can really stay up in the air because it's wind blowing around. Social distancing, which is keeping distance from other people. People in the South don't get it. They walk right up on you. They don't even know why you're standing back like you're some weirdo or something. They don't even get it. I think those will be the saving graces, or the things that keep us out of trouble. I think so. But I was thinking about let me say this too. I follow Box Mining. This is a guy who lives in Hong Kong. And I follow a guy who lives in New York, whose name is, we call him Shrimp Zoo. There are different viewpoints. If you guys know, the Surgeon General was advised people start wearing t-shirt masks and shit like that. I talked about that already. Shrimp Zoo talks about how that's not going to work. And he's kind of a doomsday. It's really bad, Box mining is more of an establishment that this actually will help to stop the spread. He may be right. I'm somewhere in between the middle. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust anything that Trump puts forward as policy. I don't trust the I don't trust the WHO. I don't trust anybody at this point in emergency. So I'm somewhere in the middle of those two, He was speaking out, Shrimp Zoo was talking about early in the crisis that it was bad in New York, that New York was really bad. And Box Mining is a guy that lives in Hong Kong, so he's closer to the outbreak. And he talks about the comparisons between SARS and coronavirus. I don't think you can compare SARS with coronavirus other than them both being coronavirus. In that 2003, there was a lot less people as far as tourism to China as there are today. Also, we had a fucking legitimate president back then, which you don't have now. You have a joke. You have a clown. You have a person that is operating on politics and things like that. That's everything he does. China has a lot more of a part in the world GDP than they had back in 2003. And we already have surpassed the amount of people. We've already surpassed the amount of people that died in SARS. So that tells you right there. It was interesting to look at that because I think people want to have that positivity and people want to believe this is going to be a short-term emergency. I told you guys, this is the long emergency. And so I knew early on that was not going to be it. I think people just wanted to believe it's something that would just go away, and it hasn't. I don't think they're being truthful with the numbers. Everyone's heard about China having 21 people just disappear off of the fucking rolls of cell phone service. You can figure that out on your own. There's more to this. The U.S. government knows more, and the Chinese government knows as well. This may have been a bioweapon. This may have been something that snuck out. Shrimp Zoo goes more into that. What is the biological weapon and all this. For me, I've already rolled out. I'm not really interested in that kind of conversation. You had a president that bullshitted and lied for 2 months, and people died as a result. His response has been to come out and call doctors and nurses criminals and thieves. You're not dealing with a legitimate political system at this point. You're not in any way. Let me say this. If anybody ever asked me why prepare, anybody, if anybody ever asked me why I prepare again, it would be COVID-19 and Donald Trump. I believe the South is just one big goddamn doomsday cult. I said this with the mass shootings, and I'm saying this now with COVID-19. If they can't keep America, and they can't keep control they want, they're quite willing to have a scorched earth situation. That's how we're hearing about all these white folks talking about weaponizing COVID-19. Ain't that the sickest shit in the world? Weaponizing COVID-19. Spraying it on doorknobs, spraying it at black people, spraying it at Jews, spraying it at cops. You see what I'm saying? Don't sit here and fool yourself and think that just because we're in a pandemic that domestic terrorism ended.
Battery level low.
Because it didn't. We've been at war since about 2015. Charleston church shooting. Nobody forgot that. I've talked about the bombing, the church fires you've had, and it turned out it was a deputy's son that did that. Was anybody surprised? It was black churches burning them down. You had the guy that was bombing stuff in Texas not too long ago, and then you had this guy recently that was attempting to bomb a hospital in Missouri in the Midwest. So these folks, we're at war, and don't believe a pandemic would change that, because I never did. So I'm somewhat in between the two. I'm between those two gentlemen on my what's it called? I think it's more airborne than anything. I think it's the key's gonna be staying out of enclosed places. And the key's gonna be keeping a distance from people and good hygiene, as they say. I don't think you need some of the stuff that Shrimp Zoo's talking about. I don't think you need those P100 masks. P100 is for oil. That's what this is for, but it's for oil, you know. You don't need that. And I think it's more important to focus on the long term, which is getting things you can clean, getting things that you can replace, things like that. I want to talk a little bit more about the South and coronavirus. I guess I always thought that survivalism was just like rednecks in the woods and, you know, we're up there camping and all that. I always thought that was survivalism. And I realized that we're living in a rightist revolution. We're living in a fascist revolution in America right now. What that means is those people are running the government that I just mentioned. Those white supremacists are running the government or are influencing the government right now. They are not interested in participating and helping people. I mean, you had Jared Kushner come out and tell you that the federal stockpile is not for the states. And then they come out and change this fucking stuff tomorrow. I mean, I've got to ask you, if the federal government is not there to come people in need, then what the fuck is it for? Just war and helping their cronies? I really believe, even as wicked as the capitalists are and these billionaires are, I think this is a bridge too far. I think telling people as their families die and their children die that, hey, this fucking stockpile is not free, I think that's a bridge too far. I even for the rednecks, I think that's a bridge too far. I'm just telling you. That's a whole other thing right there. Because Trump could have pretended that he cared, and he's telling you he doesn't. Doesn't surprise me. They didn't care before the pandemic. Why would they care now? You know? Didn't surprise me. Why would it? Let me see here. Let me see if I'm going a little bit further with this. I just think that COVID-19, people look at that and say, why are we... People say, like, why are we shutting down the economy for COVID-19? And I've talked about how for the South that I've dealt with, it's a big joke. Like, this whole response down here has been a joke to COVID-19. I see people wearing masks, just driving around. And I'm like, they must not understand those kind of masks are just to keep you from spraying it back out. You don't need to wear those masks 24/7. It's not going to keep you from something coming in. That's not what it's for. Like, that's just to keep everybody from spraying it to other people. And they're just wearing it like it's a fashion. I don't even think Southern... See, that's what I'm saying to you. That's what I'm saying to you. First, they downplayed it. You have the Southern Georgia governor come out and tell you recently that he didn't even know this was a simple asymptomatic disease that could spread asymptomatically. No one took this seriously. You had beaches open just a week or two ago. And now people are starting to realize, oh, you can die from this. So you have folks that are rolling everything out willy-nilly, and I'm not even sure. Like, just being down here in South Carolina, it brings it home to me. Like, I don't think these people are taking this seriously. I mean, I always talk about how the South is backwards, but this is a case where we can't afford to be backwards. Being backwards will kill people, has killed people. Well, it will cost lives, a lot of them. You know, that bothers me. It just reminds me that in this era we're about to go into of things breaking down, like, the South cannot be counted upon. Like, these people cannot be counted upon to act forthrightly, to make the proper decisions, to put religion to the side, put certain personal things aside, you can't trust them. You can't count on them to do that. And what that means is if you don't live down here and you work with these people, you've got to be careful. I noticed, I have a friend of mine lives in Arkansas. He's still driving trucks. And he's talking about how Louisiana is a quarantine. There needs to be a quarantine. If you're a southern state and you don't take this seriously after they've declared state of emergency and all that, you should be quarantined. And that's not even going to really work. And it's sad that in 2020, we're actually talking about this. But that's what needs to happen. If you're down here in the South and you're joking about national emergencies and all that, you should be left out of the discussion. And it's so sad for the people that live there. That's what bothers me. It's like I said to you. To me, the South at this point is just one big goddamn death cult. Oh, it's lightning strike where I live at. In Harrisburg. It's just one big goddamn death cult. It is. I mean, really. It's a big goddamn death cult. Think about it, man. The WHO declares public emergency. The president declares national emergency. States declare national emergency. No one wears masks. And they look at you weird when you're wearing a mask. We're 3 months into this thing. And the government comes out and tells you, well, the federal stockpile is for us, not for you. Wait a minute. You serve the people, don't you? I thought you served the people. Why are we paying taxes then? Wait a minute. Why am I paying income taxes? I'm confused. Why am I? That's like saying I pay taxes on the road, right? But I can't drive on the highway. Then why the fuck am I paying taxes then? I'm paying taxes so I can do those things. Like I said, we're living in strange times. We are, because I never thought I'd see conservatives ignore this, because because I grew up with, a lot of them were survivors. A lot of them did believe in hurricanes and storms and this, and it's amazing that in these times where you're dealing with global warming, climate change, you're dealing with these pandemics that come out of nowhere, you're dealing with a failure of leadership. It's amazing how quickly things just crumble down. I feel like coronavirus was not a test, but it was a very, very, very light demonstration of America's inability to cope with massive disaster. And that's sad. I've read the COG stuff and all that. It's very sad to me that that had to be a case. It didn't have to happen, man. It didn't have to happen. It really didn't. We could have came together and dealt with this, and people are going to die. It bothers me to hear these Christian ministers talk about how God is punishing the gay people, or he's punishing the gays. That's why they're dying in New York. That's why they're dying in California. Well, now they're dying in Louisiana. Next they'll be dying in Alabama, Mississippi. Is that gay people? I mean, it just shows you how hateful people in the South really can be. That any chance they get, that's really what they're fighting for. They're fighting for the right to be homophobic and racist. They're not really fighting for a better world. They're not fighting for a more cohesive world where we can cope with these crises as a world, as regions. They're just fighting for the right to be as racist and homophobic as they can. Look at this guy that died up there where I live at Spradlin. He came out talking about how coronavirus is political. Now he's dead. I don't feel bad for that bastard. I don't feel bad for him. He used his political power to downplay the seriousness of a pandemic. I hope he burns in hell. Straight up. And anybody else that's using Christianity or any other religion in the middle of a crisis to push a religious message, you need to burn in hell, man. Fuck them and fuck their children. And that's a shame. Isn't that crazy? They tell you the flag, we all one people, that we supposed to salute the flag and respect the flag. But then when there's a crisis, they tell you if you ain't basically down the middle, straight, white male, blue-eyed, blonde hair, you can fucking die. That's basically what they're telling you. And you know what I mean? A couple weeks into the emergency, they're already telling you, oh, fuck you. You know what it is? I've said it before, a lot of folks are going to die from this. Doctors are going to die of this. And by them demonizing their political enemies, that's the way to lessen the blow. And that's sad. That's really tragic that we're in a crisis and people are using the crisis to push a political, religious, moral message. That is sad, man. That is, I mean, it shows you how divisive America really is. We're not one nation. We're not one nation. We the rich and we the working class. That's what America is. America is great for the rich. If you can afford the health care, if you can afford those cell phones and $1,000 phone, it's great. But it shows you a lot of people out here are working to live. A lot of folks are, and I'm not saying that that's right, that you should be out here living beyond your means and burning your paycheck up before. I'm not saying that's right. I'm not defending that type of behavior. I'm not defending that in any way. But I am making the point that watching these Christian ministers, come out and make these statements about it's killing the gay people, all the people that don't believe in God need to die, and then you die of it. And then you get sick and you die of it. You had a minister in Louisiana that was holding a church service a couple weeks ago with hundreds of people, thousands, I think 1,000 people. And had a Bible study that Tuesday for a couple hundred people. And the police come up in there and, tell them, these people, it just shows you the South is really, the whole of the South is a doomsday cult. It is. It's whether they're talking about the gay people are taking over and the blacks and they're not thankful for America. Whether it's that or whether it's them telling you that this is a Democrat hoax and all this bullshit, it's the same thing. It's ignoring reality. So I'm a prepper. If this thing eased off right now, if they had a cure right now for coronavirus and they said, all right, look, we're going to reopen the country in 2 weeks. You can go back to your bars and stuff. If they done that, I would spend the next half of my fucking paycheck for the next month or two buying preps. Because I realized that living in the South is fucking dangerous. You're dealing with a governmental system that no longer has a public health as a paramount value. It doesn't exist. It's a death cult. The South is a death cult. It's all about it's Christianity and the gay people. It's all this bullshit. They should have rolled this shit out weeks ago. Weeks ago. I mean, I was hearing about them giving police officers expired masks, and the cops were like, "Oh, that's good, that's great." I'm just like, dude, this is America. And you're giving cops expired masks. What the fuck? They're expired for a reason. Like, this is it's just weird to me, because I know a lot of survivalists. It's really for them. It's about the race war. For a lot of white men down here that are survivalists, they would tell you it's because the left is going to try to take their guns and all this kind of stuff. That they're getting ready for a war. That's not me. For me, being a prepper, or in the future, when I tell people, for me, being a prepper or being a survivalist is about giving myself an advantage living in a region that has abdicated their responsibility to public health and public safety. I guess it would be kind of like if your brother was a drunk or a drug addict, and you needed him to help you, like, drive his car, or come pick you up, and you love him, but you know he's a fuck up, and so you still have somebody on the side that can come pick you up once in a while, or somebody can help you out. That's how I feel about the South. I have to live here. I have to exist here, but I recognize. Look, man. If southern states will respond to coronavirus like this, and all these folks get sick and die, and they're not prepared, and the federal government's telling you that this federal stockpile is not for you, it's for us. What would they do when there's a real Ebola pandemic? Well, I mean, that's how I think. Like, I don't know how the South. I don't understand how the South got like this to where it's like I said, the whole of the South is a doomsday cult. It is. When you really look at it, you really talk to people, you're dealing with a doomsday cult mentality to where they push Trump, they pushed his lies. And now it's just, well, we're all going to die. But we didn't have to. This did not have to happen. And in a reasonable, rational system, we wouldn't even be there. If you were testing people, you didn't. What did you do in the beginning, CDC? You took the German test, you wanted to make your own. You wasted weeks. Then the test went out, and you had to bring it back because the test was useless. So people died for nothing, and weeks were wasted. This is the public health care system in America. So if anybody ever asks me, well, I'm a prepper, I'd say Donald Trump, COVID-19, and the fact that the South and some of the Midwest, the South, the South, their political philosophy has decided in all their wisdom to abdicate their responsibility to public health, to protecting me, to making me aware of things, of dangers and stuff. These people, I mean, this would be like if we were in nuclear war and we had like people who their job was to protect us and alert us. And you had folks say like, oh, well, they knew their job and a nuclear strike hit Manhattan or something. This is like that. Like these people dropped the ball. It can't get much worse than this. And for some reason, I believe that coronavirus is even worse than they're saying it is. I really do. Peace.